Hello, what is up, guys? It's SKFC back here with another video. And today we're going to be talking about the appointment of Thomas Tuchel to become the New England manager, what I think this means going forward for international football, no more and more so specifically for this video, how I think he's going to set up the New England team that he's going to be taking over. So we're just kind of to go into a brief overview of kind of what Tuchel has done as manager. He started out in the Bundesliga with Mainz. He eventually made his way to Borussia Dortmund, and after that, he had 2 years at PSG, followed by a year and a half at Chelsea and another further stint at Bayern Munich. So, this is a guy that is used to, managing high-end European clubs. He's made the rounds, as you can see here by what he's won. He's won Champions Leagues, league titles, cup titles. So this is a guy that knows a lot about, how to win trophies, which has been the main thing that England have been struggling to do. This is a guy that in his last 4 Champions League campaigns, he's made a semi-final that he narrowly missed out on, when he was at Bayern Munich. He won a UCL with Chelsea at a time where they were not in a position to do that. He made another final with PSG when they had not had any precedent to do that in their history. And keep in mind, I'm pretty sure Mbappe was injured most of that year. And then he had almost beaten that Real Madrid team again, and he was really, really unlucky to not do so. So this is a guy that knows how to set up for competitions, which kind of plays into, his main philosophy, that being his ability to adapt. He's not the type of manager that's married to one specific type of style, like a Pep or a Klopp or an Enzo Maresca or a Nagelsmann. He's very much so a manager that will adapt to the players that he has at his disposal, as well as the opposition that he's going up against. Kind of like when he was at Chelsea and Bayern, those are the 2 times I want to take a look at, because those are the last 2 full-time jobs that he's had. One of the things that was kind of consistent among both teams was that he liked to use the fullbacks a lot, in terms of build-up. And when he was at Chelsea more so, he wasn't just using them for build-up, but also to kind of help progress the attack. At Chelsea, the fullbacks, I think in his only full season there, they were actually top 3 in terms of chance creation between Alonso and Reece James, and they were only lagging behind Mason Mount in that regard. So it shows kind of how much he values that. He also likes, from his time at Dortmund, as well as at PSG and Chelsea, he also showed a willingness to utilize deep line playmakers. He's had a history of that when you consider, players like Julian Weigl, Verratti, Jorginho. You'd sometimes have secondary pivots that would come in and help the deep line playmaker if, they were getting marked out of the game or anything like that. Players like Gundogan at Dortmund or Kovacic to help progress the ball. He also likes to have ball-playing center backs, and you can see this with, Matt Hummels at Dortmund, Thiago Silva when he was at PSG and Chelsea. And I think that would fit in well, especially with, a couple of the players that England have at their disposal. When he was at Dortmund, he was a little bit more attacking. He would often build up in a 2-3-2-3 shape, or sometimes he would build up in a back 3 where you'd have one of the fullbacks tuck in. Typically, it would be Piszczek that would be the one to do it. So that kind of just shows, his ability to adapt has always been, part of his philosophy, even at Dortmund, where he was known to be a more attacking manager. And then you can also see this in kind of the way that he likes to utilize his wingers as well. It's often very, very different depending on what team he is managing. Like when he was at Dortmund, a lot of the creative responsibilities was left to Ousmane Dembele, whereas when he was at Chelsea, like I alluded to earlier, a lot of the responsibilities was left to the fullbacks as well as Mason Mount, whereas players like Havertz or Timo Werner or Pulisic were more so there to make runs in behind to either playing the striker or to score themselves. Whereas when he was at PSG, he was a little bit more laissez-faire about it in the sense that he would basically just want one of the front three, whether it was Di Maria or Mbappe or Neymar, but especially Neymar or Di Maria, to kind of drop into be a major central hub for creativity. So it kind of just shows again, different ways he's able to adapt his tactics to fit the players. So if we were just to, get a look at some of the plays that England have at their disposal. So this isn't the team that I think he's going to field. This is more so, one of the more well-known or more used lineup, should I say. So if I were to look at this and kind of look at what I think he would tweak, so I think he would probably want to have Alexander-Arnold be more of a creative force. When you consider his ability to create, I think that would be something that Tuchel would value. It would be a bit different though compared to if he had someone like a Reece James, where Reece James is more of a fullback that likes to go up and down the field. Trent is definitely more of a fullback that likes to play in these specific half spaces to put in crosses or put in through balls. So it would be interesting to see what he does if he were to line up with Trent. I definitely think he would either use Stones or one of Levi Colwill to be his main ball-playing center back. Like I said earlier, this is something that he's shown to have a propensity for, whether it be at Dortmund or at Chelsea or even at PSG as well. So I definitely think either one of Colwill or John Stones would be that main ball-playing center back. I do think Gay is also pretty decent as well. So he would also be another good option in that regard. I think where he might have a bit of an issue is in the midfield, specifically trying to figure out the midfield three, because he has a couple of options. You can go with the 4-2-3-1, which is a lineup he likes to use a lot at Dortmund and at PSG, or he can also go with the patented 3-4-3 that he made famous at Chelsea. So it really just depends on what he decides to do. If he were to try to decide to do something like a 3-4-3, I would believe that he'd probably have Walker play as the third center back, just offering pace and slightly better build up. Even though I know his build up isn't good for a right back in Pep's system, but for a center back in international play, it would probably be good enough. Have Alexander-Arnold again playing now, having more license to play in these half spaces. Honestly, I would assume he'd probably still have Rice play. Although I do think Rice is one of those midfielders that has limited passing range in terms of where you'd want him in the build-up play. So I do believe that Gomes would be a very instrumental player that he would look at, just because Gomes is really one of the only England players that actually play in that deep line playmaking role for I believe it's Lyon that he plays for. So I think that would be something that he would look into. What he could also possibly do is maybe just, take out, you have Bellingham play here and essentially try to get in another winger. I mean, Saka would be another winger that he'd probably also look at as well, because Saka is a very creative winger, has high attacking IQ, and has actual defensive work rate. So those are three things that, especially the defensive work rate, that I think Tuchel would value very highly. One of the things that I noticed Tuchel kind of struggled with at Bayern, especially when they got Harry Kane, was that he would still have Harry Kane drop deep to play in passes. However, Harry Kane didn't really have the type of runners at Bayern needed to take advantage of that. Like in the sense that Leroy Sané is a very ball-to-feet type of player. He didn't score a goal for like 8 months. Gnabry would be the type of player that Harry Kane would like in that sense, but I believe he was injured a lot last year. And then Coleman is also a more ball-to-feet creative type of winger. So if Kane were to kind of continue the same role that he has. You would probably look to get in wingers that could take advantage of that in terms of the off-ball movement. So someone like Jared Bowen would be a good option for that. I know this player is very out of form right now, but someone like a Marcus Rashford could be a good winger for that as well. Just someone to essentially take advantage of Kane's passing range. Another possible thing I think he could also do is if he decides he doesn't want Alexander-Arnold to start for any reason, he could have Palmer playing this kind of right half space role over here, and then essentially just bring in a. That's a bit weird because I can't really think of left backs that England have that I would want to play here, but essentially a left-sided player that has a bit more defensive acumen. I was thinking, because for some reason the first thing that popped into my head was Luke Shaw, but he's not really. I know he has a lot of injury problems at the moment, so he wouldn't be who I would really think to put in that role. Yeah, so it would be a bit interesting to see who he could play there. I know during the Euros, anytime Southgate would run a 3-man defense, he would often put Trippier there, although Trippier hasn't really been as consistent this season. So it'll be interesting to see if he tries a new face there. Maybe someone like Ian Maatsen would be possibly a good addition. We'll see to that. It will depend on how his form continues for Aston Villa. Just at this point, I'm kind of just throwing out names that I think would be interesting. I know someone that I haven't really talked about yet, someone like a Kobe Mainu, who I do rate highly. The only issue I have with him is I don't think that he's a Tuchel type of player in the sense of while he is an 8, he's more of a ball progressing 8 than an 8 that you really see making line breaking passes. And I also don't know if he has quite the defensive work rate for a Tuchel system. Obviously, everything that I'm saying right now is just speculation. So until we see how Tuchel decides to have him line up, this would be my guess. So if I were to make a final starting lineup based off how I think Tuchel will play, I think he would probably switch to a 4-back. I think he would play similar to what they were running. I think he would play Alexander-Arnold and Walker as the fullbacks. I think in build-up, you'd probably build up in a 3-back shape, try and kind of roam into the half spaces. So who knows? Honestly, probably even if I were to actually think about this for a second, I would probably switch them around. So have Trent kind of roam into these half spaces, have the team build up in a back 3 shape with these 3. Maybe someone, like I said, like a Gomes playing next to a Declan Rice as the 2 double pivots. Someone like Palmer in midfield, and then having Saka on the right. And then, like I said, depending on if he wants to have Kane drop deep, you probably have someone like a Rashford or a Bowen that can take advantage of that. I know Bowen is in better form this season, so I'll probably go with him. I think this is probably – I don't know. Obviously, I don't think you'd use the exact players, but I do think this would basically be more or less the type of lineup you'd want to go for. But that's my video for today, guys. If you stuck to the end of it, I appreciate it. I definitely do plan on making more videos. I know I've been kind of MIA, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comment below, and have a good day.